Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
I don't know about you, but I have lots of conversations, mainly Zoom calls anymore. I do have people who just want to do a telephone call, but for the most part, it's Zoom conversations. People I don't know, some people I'm reconnecting with. But it's interesting. I'll be introduced to somebody, or somebody will reach out to me via LinkedIn or whatever and say, hey, somebody said we should talk. Let's have a conversation. I'll get on the phone with them and they'll explain what they're looking for, and they'll say, connect me to anybody who can, fill in the blank, whatever that blank is. And sometimes it's not totally articulate or totally clear as to what they're looking for, and then we'll explore a little bit more. Sometimes it's super obvious, right? It's just these are the types of people I'm looking for, and you just know when you're talking to them, this is it. This makes total sense. And send me the people that you know, and I'll look at the screen, at the person, and I'll draw a complete blank. Geez. And I'll say, I don't mean it in a bad way, but I'm just like sitting here right now. I can't think of anybody. I really can't. Now, this doesn't always happen. From time to time, there are people that come right to mind. But then the interesting thing is that, later others will come to mind. But, some people, it's just like you just draw this complete blank. It's almost, it's almost like stage fright, if you will, right? The notion of being on stage and being so taken with the moment, so nervous that you forget your lines. Stage fright, right? And I'm saying, I can't think of anybody. I totally know what you're looking for, but I can't think of anybody sitting here right now. And then I'll step away from the problem. And it's usually the next day. And just a flood of, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of this person? And a lot of times, to be honest, I am what I'll call personally embarrassed, right? I'm not publicly embarrassed, but I'm embarrassed. Like, why didn't I think of that? Now, nobody knows of my embarrassment that I didn't think of John or Jane for the situation. John or Jane, they have no idea. If they did, they might be like, how come you didn't think of me? You should have thought of me. And so that's what I mean by personally embarrassed. Like, oh, man, I can't believe, And it's not really a sign of age. Maybe a little bit. It's a sign of age. But I've noticed this for years, that I'll have an encounter with somebody and they need help. They need a connection. And I can't place it in the moment. Again, it's kind of stage fright, if you will. And so you come back to the problem, and it kind of solves itself. Well, there's a reason for this, and what they're finding is research out there, social science, neurology. There's this confluence of science out there. Sociology studies how we operate in groups. Psychology operates how we individually operate. Neurology studies the brain and how those two things interact. Neurology studies other things as well, but there's these three circles, this Venn diagram. It's all kind of coming together and it's all intertwined. But what they're finding is that the brain creates these mental maps of connections between our friends and our acquaintances to help us better navigate our social worlds. And when we're sleeping, we go through these mental maps. It starts to make these connections. Essentially it's rehearsing, traveling through these maps, and it enables us to better understand the social interactions we have during the day. So now, to me, it's abundantly clear that when somebody throws a bit of information at you, it's not readily apparent. Especially, is it a sign of age? Yes, it's absolutely a sign of age. Because when I was in high school, I didn't know that many people. It was easy for my mind to go through the mental maps and say, okay, you know what? You probably should talk to this person. But as you get older, and you can say this is deficiency, but as you get older, you just know more people. In Brian Miller's book, Three New People, he proposes that we meet 3 new people every day. I'm recording this. It's at 8:41 a.m. I was online at 7 o'clock, and Marlies Vaher from Estonia, who's 6 hours ahead of me, had already made an introduction for me. I was already communicating at 7 a.m. this morning with somebody new in the United Kingdom. That's one. It's not even 9 o'clock. So, yeah, it's an age thing. We're meeting more and more people. And it's not like the others go away. Once connected, always connected. People I know in high school, I still know them. They're still there. It's like my brain is this library, or your brain is this library, and every day a truck comes along and brings more books. So when you're first starting out with your library, you don't have many books, and now as time goes on, every day you're getting more and more books. And so when you meet somebody new, what the brain's having to do is it's trying to have to take that book and figure out where that book goes. And the book just shows up at the desk. Okay, I got to figure out where this thing goes. I got to figure out what this book is about. Then I got to figure out what part of the library it goes into. Is it history? Is it biographies? Is it self-help? Is it humor? Is it fiction? What type of fiction? And so it takes time to kind of put it in there where that book is supposed to go. And so that's what's happening when you're meeting people and trying to help people. Is you've got this thing going on in your brain where the truck is showing up and it's bringing that new person to your door, and you got to figure out who that new person is, and you got to figure out where that new person goes, and then you got to figure out, okay, how does this new person work with respect to all the other people that I know. Oh, you're looking for ABC. I have to stop and I have to think. And on top of all of that, you have other things going on in your life. I mean, if you woke up and it's like, okay, here's person X, we need you to meet person X, and we need you to take care of person X today, and the only thing you need to do today is take care of person X, it would be, I don't want to say it would be easy, but it would be a lot easier because you could kind of sit and relax and reflect on it, pontificate, okay, who does person X need to know? But life doesn't work that way, right? As soon as I'm done with this podcast, recording this podcast, I've got 3 other things that I need to kind of keep going. And I need to turn my attention to this, and then to this, and then to this, and then to this. And then I'll come back to the podcast later, and I'll do some editing. And, okay, what am I going to call this thing? How am I going to post this thing up? So on and so forth. And so the brain's probably working in the background, but it's not working as efficiently. But at night when you sleep, or take a nap during the day. Oh, my wife's going to hear this episode, and she's going to love it. But when you have the ability to just kind of shut down and let your brain go to work on how people fit into your world and how they fit with other people in your world, that's when the connections start to make. So I think what this episode really advocates is getting a good night's sleep and the power of getting a good night's sleep. I think that's one thing. One point I'll make from this. The other point is don't put pressure on yourself, and don't let somebody put pressure on you if you can't think of somebody in the moment. It is a sign of age. It's not a sign of dementia, though. It's a sign that you know a lot of people. And I would feel, I would wonder about somebody if I were talking to them and they say, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And 3 days later, they still don't know because they're still hanging out with the same 6 people from high school. And so they don't have a very big network. But if you've got a big network and a growing network, I would expect you not to know. I think that would be a good thing. I think that's healthy. The connections will come. People will think of these things. It always works for me this way, right? I'll have a conversation with somebody, even somebody I know who might say something different, or even somebody I know who says the same thing, but they're saying it in a moment where I might have other new connections, or my brain has done some work to, going back to my metaphor, to reorganize the library, if you will. So now all of a sudden it makes sense. Oh my gosh, you forgot about this other book over here, in the do-it-yourself section. Oh, I did. You know what? This is a perfect connection. Why didn't I think of that? So get out there and meet people. Get out there and meet people. Get out there and meet new people. Reconnect with the people that you know. And lean into the notion that you want to help others. That you want to connect them to people. That's your job. It's not your job to be a broker and determine how information's flowing or how people connect. You're supposed to connect people. Don't put a lot of pressure on yourself to make it happen. Just go and have a good night's sleep.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AMSPIRIT.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.